Now I know what you're thinking. What are we doing talking about Diamond Audio in the accessory category? Well, don't be fooled because Diamond Audio is supporting their dealers by having an entire suite of accessories to be able to properly install whatever piece of audio gear you need to. And on today's episode, of course, I've invited back their product specialist, John Catalano, to talk to us about not only the breadth of the line, but a couple key SKUs you need to know about. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Diamond Audio accessories. And it starts now. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and yep, we're talking accessories. Now, I know maybe this is not as cool or as fun as DSP and audiophile stuff, but guess what? It is imperative that you have a firm grasp and knowledge of the tools and accessories that you have on hand to be able to make that customer happy and get that flat signal to the rest of the sound system. To do so, looks like Diamond Audio's brought up an entire catalog of said accessories. Now, John, we've got a lot to cover on today's show. What do you want to talk about today?
Great point. We have a lot of accessories with Diamond Audio because we need to support our dealers and we want to make sure that they have the right tools to install our products correctly and even pair it with other products. But having the right things to make everything work correctly is imperative.
All right, we're going to do a little bit of exploration into the Diamond Audio accessory catalog. But first, a quick message from our sponsor and partner, SiriusXM, reminding you dealers out there why it's always a great add-on sale. And when we come back, John and we're going to talk some Diamond Audio accessories. Don't you dare go away.
Hi, Paul Truman here with SiriusXM. We reached out to some of our partners in the industry, and here's what they had to say.
I can't say more or enough about just what it means to have our unit working with SiriusXM. It's like we're there now.
The SiriusXM service is something consumers want, right? So it's Paul.
That allows a consumer to listen to either podcasts, entertainment, sports, all at their fingertips. It's all about engagement, and that's what SiriusXM provides.
SiriusXM is a huge component in a vehicle nowadays. Consumers expect that technology to be available both in our OEM system as well as the aftermarket upgrades that they're applying to their vehicle.
Alpine and SiriusXM, through our electronics, are able to offer the consumer on the aftermarket side SiriusXM 360L, which is an expanded platform for SiriusXM. And it's really been a beneficial relationship for us with SiriusXM.
As a dealer, just remember, we don't compete with anybody else. We are absolutely one of the best profitability accessories you can add to any head unit that is SiriusXM ready.
All right, welcome back to the show. As mentioned, we're talking Diamond Audio in the accessories category. Now, John, I have a long list here, but we're going to do our due diligence and definitely check off all the boxes here. We're going to start at something real simple, pretty fundamental. But when it comes to amplifier kits, I mean, let's be honest, we all need them. We can't install amplifiers without them. So what is Diamond Audio's take on amplifier kits?
Well, you're exactly right. Of course, you need amplifier kits to install an amplifier. But we just took an approach as we want to make sure that that amplifier kit is what we say it is. So, the wire is full specification, and I'm talking USA specification, not some Chinese weird specification, but full specification, pure copper. So you have that amperage capability for the amplifier that you're installing, so it performs at its peak because it's not starving for current. And we also paired that with our great RCAs, our HX3 series of RCAs. So not only are you going to get great power, but you're going to get great signal to the amplifier as well.
Well, John, I had no doubt that if Diamond Audio was going to offer some amplifier kits, it would only be top-notch stuff. And I do know what you're referring to. And no, that's not the stuff you want to put into a customer's vehicle if you care about the final result and safety for that matter. All right, just for further clarification, what is the offering? What is the packaging like from a dealer perspective? What options do I have?
Well, you have your basics. Obviously, we have wire. So you have your wire in there. You got 17 foot of power wire, 3 foot of ground wire. We've got our terminal blocks, really nice, heavy brass, and then nickel plated terminals. You've got your accessory hardware for the installation to make that happen. You've got the RCAs. You've got speaker wire. We've put the right components in there so you can do that install correctly. And then, of course, the correct size fuse and fuse holder. So when we add a fuse to that wiring kit, that fuse is designed to protect that wire from the vehicle, right? So you can add a secondary fuse holder to your amplifier closer to the amp if you need a specific value, but that fuse that comes in that kit is to protect that wire. It's within 18 inches of the battery, and that protects that wire as it runs through the vehicle. And if you need a smaller value for your amplifier, you can install that at the amplifier itself if it doesn't have one built in.
All right, so that's the amp kits that obviously Diamond's got you covered on. Always great to have in stock for any install ready to go. Now, I want to dive a little bit deeper because, the interconnects are also available separately from Diamond Audio. And maybe give you an opportunity, John, to talk about some of the key points when it came to developing an interconnect set with the Diamond name on it.
Well, I mean, you're tugging on my heartstrings when you want to talk about interconnects. The Diamond interconnects are a great piece. We have the 1 series right now, the HX3s. They have the Diamond aesthetic. We have the copper ends. They're small and compact, so they're easier to run through the vehicle. It's a Siamese pair it's a mononique cable. So that means that it's a single double twisted strand that gets hit to a stopper, and then it splits into the 2 channels or the 4 channels, or whatever the case may be. But that design keeps the cable itself nice and compact. It also adds another layer of noise rejection because the twisted pairs are then double twisted around the other twisted pairs. So you get a double layer of noise rejection the way that is done. And then that's all protected itself by an outer mesh that allows that to also easier run through the dash. So as you're pulling it through the dash, basically that cable just runs along that protective mesh, and it allows that to zip through that dash much easier. And then it has a nice aesthetic when you go ahead and finish that installation at the amplifier.
And that is exactly why we have John Catalano at the show, man. I love it when you geek out, and I'm right there with you, brother. Interconnects are so important, and it's great to see that there is some care and technology put towards interconnects. A system is only as strong as its weakest link, guys, and I think Diamond's got you covered on the RCA side of things. All right, let's get into some hardware, John. I mean, these next 2 items are really critical in modern, installations, because we're talking about digital LOCs, line output converters. Now, we're not talking about the old school LOCs. These are digital ones. They have their own chassis, their own power supply. They look fancy, but there's a reason why they look the way they do. Let's break it down for the folks. Let's start with your traditional LOCs to get the signal to your amplifier.
Thanks for that, Ben. I can talk about these LOCs for probably an hour, so I'm just going to go over the really key points so we can just get through this. So there's several models. They go from 2-channel to 8-channel and everything in between. Some of the key features that are nice is 40-volt inputs, because on the modern vehicles, you need to be able to have that high voltage input that has 10-volt outputs, so you can keep the gains low on your amp and reduce your chances of having noise. It has ground isolation, also to reduce the chances of having any noise in there, and there's 3 selectable modes. It has auto turn-on feature, so you can get that turn on to your new amplifiers from a radio that doesn't have a turn-on feature. You have load resistors, so you can keep factory amplifiers in check and on and continue to work and send signal, because it tricks the fault sensing circuit in the newer vehicles. And then finally, you have summing. And I say summing for outputs. So what that does is a 2-channel, even on the 8-channel, you only have to have 2 channels of input to get 8 channels of out. You can just flip a switch. You don't have to have a bunch of Y connectors or start daisy chaining things together. You can still get all 8 channels of output. And then finally, my favorite piece is the BE1, which is our 2-channel digital LOC that gives you all those features that I just mentioned, but also gives you the ability for bass enhancement, because a lot of these newer vehicles, that sound is altered as they turn the volume up. The bass gets lowered. This will allow you to bring that back, and it's not just a bass boost. It is actually a circuit that's looking at the audio signal, and then it derives extra bass information from the signal that's already there, and it's a double knob. So you have a level control that allows you to raise and lower it just like a standard subwoofer level. And then finally, it allows you to add the enhancement. So you can adjust how much enhancement you want depending on what you're listening